Get on in here. Yeah, it's time. I didn't bring any nuts out today. I forgot the nuts. Anyway, we got a great view. Look there in the background, everybody. The wind's high, but maybe it'll calm down just a tad. Come on in. I don't have any music today. I guess I could sing for you. Yeah, that would not be fun. So get on in here. There is pollen everywhere. You know, I want each of you who have a little place to find you some wind chimes. There is nothing better than wind chimes. I have had the back door open all day today, and I've been listening to my chimes, and it's just glorious bells. Just happy bells. I mean, my favorite one is the one my sister gave me, and they have deep tones. The bigger the tube, the deeper the tone. But I have one over here that needs to be about 40-mile-an-hour wind before I hear that one. So that tells me that the wind is up and it's from the south because the wind comes around the house. And we got them hanging from the eaves. And this one's hanging from a shepherd's hook off our back deck. And it's pleasant. It's just pleasant to be outside in the wind chimes, in a breeze. Robert has made some wind chimes one time out of an old oxygen tank. I don't know why he had an old oxygen tank, but he cut it with a torch. You just have to make do with what you got. And I do love my wind chimes. So, folks, I've been listening to some pretty good podcasts today. If you've never listened to Brandon Tatum, he is a former police officer in Phoenix. He was a college and high school football player, but he wanted to serve his community, and he is a pretty wise dude. Anyway, look at that view. Look at that view. Where is everybody? Get on in here, y'all. So we've all got talents. That's kind of what I want to talk about today. Because one of the podcasts I listened to was Scott Kesterson. And he had a rough time a few years ago. And he went to Thomaston, Georgia. And he was involved in a little country Baptist church, small church. And the pastor there in Thomaston, Georgia, and I know people, we had a pastor from Thomaston, Georgia when Justin was growing up, and they had a daughter named Kim, and they were from Thomaston. It's a small town in Alabama, not Alabama, in Georgia, southern Georgia, not too far south. But there's good people. Good people, I'm telling you. Really good people down there. And this pastor changed Scott Kesterson's life. Literally. He mentored him. And now Scott has become an amazing he doesn't call himself a pastor. I call him a minister. He takes a topic and he makes you think differently about it. And now he's preaching to all the world. Well, Scott is called Bards of War on Podbean, Bean, Bean, Bean. as in pinto bean. And he asked the pastor, he usually ends every podcast with a prayer, and he asked the pastor to end the podcast with a prayer. And the pastor's prayer was just amazing, and it's what we do every day. Right now, if we took a roll count of who all is here, we would have people in this podcast, in this video show, this tea time, from I would dare say 50 different countries from around the world. The UK, I mean, do a roll call. Everybody just, put where they're from in the comments. The UK, Australia, India. Please pray for India. They're being hit really hard with COVID right now. Every country in the world. Every country in the world. Got somebody using a chainsaw just below me. Robert went down to check it out, and they have a spring. They get their water from a spring. But back to the pastor. He was talking about, it's a little bitty Baptist church. He was talking about how from this podcast they were doing last night, it's going to go around the world. And Scott has had over 8 million downloads of his podcast in the last 2 months. Now, this is quite a ministry. It's just amazing. But we have a ministry too. We have a ministry of helping you to get your home in order so that you can find your purpose for Christ. And I know many of you don't believe that your messy house has anything to do with you not finding your purpose. Well, it's the devil's way of keeping you separated from your purpose in God's community. Listen to that. They're both going. So when you see somebody with a need and you hear yourself say, "Oh, I can't do that right now because the laundry needs done, or the dishes need to be done, or I need to cook supper. I can't minister to that person because I have too much to do." Well, stop and think about what I just said. The devil's using your house and your procrastination to keep you from finding your purpose for living, purpose for following God. We are commanded to love our neighbor as ourselves. Did you know if you don't love yourself, you can't love your neighbor? And I know you don't believe that. But this is what happens. You're taken away from loving that neighbor because you're told by the devil sitting on his shoulder, you don't have time. You don't have time. I got my house in order. 20 years ago, I got my house in order. It's not perfect. But guess what? Somebody asked me to start an email group. And you know what? I did it. I did it without hearing the excuses in my head that I didn't have time. I did the do it now principle. I started the group, and lo and behold, the first day 10 people signed up. That was a lot. The next day there were 25. In a month's time, there were 100. And I'm thinking, wow, I guess somebody really does want to know what I've got to say. And it wasn't an ego thing, it was that there were so many people that needed help. People needed help to get rid of the clutter and the chaos in their lives. And if I can help you establish one habit, then next month we can establish another one. And before you know it, you've got 3 or 4 habits piggybacked on one another, and your house is practically cleaning itself. Don't allow the devil to win. Scott Kesterson is his name. He has a podcast on Podbeam. And just look for Bards of War. And he's out of Oregon. He moved back to Oregon to be close to his mother and father, who are still alive, and they're in their 80s. And he is a good, godly man. Yep, he's a godly man. And he does a great devotional morning and evening. Sometimes I listen to the evening one or in the morning. And he does another podcast at 9 o'clock at night, my time, which is 6 o'clock his time. And it just kind of gets you centered. That the podcast I listened to with his former pastor was from last night. So I can fill my head with good things at the same time I do my work of sending out the videos and getting stuff ready for tomorrow. Everything's all done. I haven't wasted any time today. But Liz and I made a commitment to each other today that we would talk on the phone every Wednesday. Now, do you have somebody you need to talk to on the phone? Sometimes people need to hear a voice that is not just in text or on Messenger. You pick up the phone and you call them. So do you need to make an appointment to call somebody every Wednesday? Do it. So take some time today to think about what the messiness and the chaos in your house is really doing to your life and your purpose. You know, many years ago, you may have had a goal to be a writer or to teach a class or anything. You may have had that purpose pushed back on the back burner because the babies came along and then they were in school and it's so busy, and then all of a sudden you're at an empty nest time and you're busier than ever. But you never really forgot about that one little thing you wanted to do. Pull out of your memory here and figure out what it is that you wanted to be when you grew up. What can you do to make that happen? Just 15 minutes a day working towards it. Maybe we start a new habit tomorrow. Maybe you want to get in better shape. That's one of the things that I probably could do. I don't know that I am, but tomorrow's a new day. 15 minutes a day. Walking down your driveway. doing something that takes care of you. You'll have more energy. Staying hydrated is another one of those things we're going to do in June. Taking care of you. If you don't take care of you, who will? So drink up. How are you going to use that Bachelor of Science degree in psychology? How did you think you were going to use it when you were in college? Don't allow the devil to take your purpose away from you. Don't allow that. Step up to the plate. Now, I watched Mike Lindell on Jimmy Kimmel. I used to watch Jimmy Kimmel all the time. I don't watch him anymore. He made too much fun of somebody that I like. He made too much fun of me. But I watched him bully a man who gave his life to God and to Christ. I watched him bully this man, and this man knew he was going to be bullied when he went on the show. And he's going to sell a lot of pillows for that, because when you're mistreated in the name of the Lord, God pays you back. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Mike Lindell and Jimmy Kimmel. It was a good show. Robert heard it was bad, and I said, honey, it was bad for Jimmy Kimmel. I watched it. It was bad for Jimmy Kimmel. So everybody, find your purpose. Find your purpose. And don't let anything stand in your way. And when the devil comes knocking to pull you away with drama, laugh in its face. That's what I saw Mike Lindell do last night when he did that show. Night before last, I think. He laughed in the face of the devil. And they can't stand that. They cannot stand it. So laugh at the devil. Say, devil, be gone in Jesus' name. So just know, when you can make a difference, when you know, when God tells you, and He does tell us things, we have little inklings. We can hear a little voice sometimes. Maybe it's just a gut feeling, but that's God. When He says you need to do something, I'll never forget one time I was in a train station in Boston. We were in Boston. This was early on in Fly Lady. A bunch of fly babies met us there, but we were going back home. We're taking the train back home. I think we took the train back home. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we flew home. But we were at a train station, and I saw this lady over in the corner, and something inside of me said, you need to give her $20. And I looked at Robert, and I said, honey, I need $20. And he said, okay. Pulled it out of his wallet, because I never carry any money. I purposely carry money now if I'm out. But I said, I'm supposed to give $20 to that lady over there. He said, well, go do it. And I did it. I didn't ask questions. I just did it. You know, Jesus commanded to put mud on somebody's eyes and go wash it in the Jordan. The Jordan was a nasty river. And they did it. You don't question it. You don't question it. When you get that little voice, that little nagging voice. I've had that little nagging voice many times. I'd say, honey, there's a deer up here. He'd slow down a little. It wouldn't be much, but he'd slow down. One time we were driving down east in North Carolina, and I said, there's going to be a snake up here on the road. And sure enough, there was a snake up here on the road. We laugh about it, but he pays attention to me. He pays attention to me. And one time, I was sitting at the bowling alley, and I just had a premonition. And I saw a person that was 9 months pregnant. At which point, she was sitting there bowling with us, and I said, I just saw you 9 months pregnant behind the scorekeeping table. And she goes like this. Within 3 months, she was looking for birth control and something to drink at the beach. And she was starving. And no, she wasn't looking for birth control. She was looking for a pregnancy test. And she took 2 or 3 of them. And she calls me up and she says, I've taken several pregnancy tests and I'm pregnant. And I said, I told you. Don't you remember me telling you that? It's weird. But you center yourself with the Lord and He shows you things. He shows you stuff. So when you hear that little voice that urges you to do something, when you say, I have a sink full of dishes and a bathroom full of dirty laundry, I don't have time, you're rejecting God. You need to repent of that. You need to get your house in order so you can follow the path that God has set for you. Do not reject the Father when He's right here for you. Don't do it. Everybody needs wind chimes and birdies and bird feeders. Everybody needs it. Just lovely out here. Absolutely lovely. Anyway, folks, y'all be good, kind, and sweet. I'll be back here in the morning, not out here on the deck. Usually it's a little cool in the morning, but I'll be in my studio. It's Saturday. What are you doing for fun tomorrow with your family? Some people said they don't have a family to do things with. Well, you can get out and do some fun stuff all on your own. Call a friend. Phone a friend. Get out and do something. It's the beginning of our new habit. It's May the 1st. And we're going to practice this habit for the whole month of May. We're also going to be starting in our Back to Basics book. We haven't done it, I think, since January. It's just pleasant out here. Don't be complaining about husbands. Because if you complain about your husband, that's whining. Somebody said their husband messes up faster than she can put away. Well, that's not. Thank him. Robert and I have a little thing we do when we have aluminum can, and it used to startle me to death, just startle me. When he would squash a can to go in, squash a can to go into the recycling because we like this sparkling water, and he would crush this can, and I would jump, and I said, "Honey, I wish you'd warn me before you get ready to squash the can because it was a loud noise." And he said, we watch this commercial on TV, and every time you see this commercial, I don't even know what the commercial's for. This waitress in a diner, she's a black lady. She says she orders pie, and the guy in the back calls back. I think they do this at Waffle House too. They call back what the order was, and she says pie, and the guy says pie coming. And Robert says, noise coming. And I say, okay, noise coming. So last night after he squished the cans, I said, thank you for warning me. And I laugh every time because I think of this commercial, pie coming. So when your husband messes up, if he cleans up a little or puts something away, say, thanks for putting that away, honey. Thanks for going and getting our dinner tonight. Thank you. And be sincere. Be sincere. Don't roll your eyes at your husband. That's the best way to ruin a relationship. So it's date night. What are you doing for date night? Last night we had German, so we had our date night early. And I had leftovers for lunch about 2 o'clock. You know, we have many people that come on our show every day or every month that say they just lost their husband. So be thankful that you have a husband. Be kind. Bless others. I probably will not do a show tomorrow afternoon, y'all. Ethan has his graduation drive-through because we still have a lot of lockdowns here in North Carolina. So we're gonna go to the drive-through. When you can do a good deed, do it. Don't ever ask for anything in return. Just do it. Don't be resentful when you do something for others. So have a good rest of the day. Drink your tea. Take a few extra minutes to ponder what it was you wanted to be when you grew up. I never knew. It wasn't until I got my house in order that I knew, because God presented it to me. He laid it right out there for me. In fact, I think He tricked me into doing it because somebody needed my help. And He knew my character. He knew if somebody needed help, I would be there to help them. So drink up. That tea hits the spot today. I love you all. And I will see you in the morning. Not tomorrow afternoon. No tea time tomorrow afternoon. So I could be out here in the morning. See you later.